Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue. As you all know by now, it's part of Southeast Asia TV. Today I have a very interesting personality, a young, colleague in the academic world. I like to think I'm in the academic, but I'm not. But I love, academia. And today is just a great pleasure to have with me the Dean of the Royal University of Phnom Penh. So, Pheakdey, welcome. Yes. Before we start, why don't I give you a few minutes so that you can introduce yourself a bit to the audience, your background, you're Cambodian, you want to study abroad, I don't know. Tell us your life story.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Some people say that Nguonphan Pheakdey, I'm an architect, working as a dean at the Royal University of Phnom Penh, the Dean of Faculty of Engineering of the Royal University of Phnom Penh. And my background after architecture in Phnom Penh, I had a PhD scholarship to Germany, to Heidelberg, to the Interdisciplinary Center for Scientific Computing, working on 3D modeling, simulation, visualization of Angkor Wat style temples, and finished 2009. After that, I conducted research in the framework of scientific cultural heritage, scientific computing and cultural heritage in Cambodia, working together with the Global Heritage Fund at the preservation site of Bantichma in the Dimenji provinces for 4 years. My job there was to promote digital technology and computational science for cultural heritage to support restoration preservation at the site. And we also at the same time work with the National Museum, with some museum in Siem Reap, and other partners that have similar interests. Yes, and then in 2013 I became the Dean of Faculty of Engineering, which actually differs from cultural heritage, which comprises of IT engineering, telecommunication, electronics, and bioengineering. But IT engineering still play a role where we can connect to the cultural heritage. What we are talking here now today.
And I'm very impressed. I don't know what you're talking about because it's so high tech. But ask you a very simple question. You have a DVD I can on that I can watch?
Sure, you can.
All right, so that is where I can understand what is digital, cultural. What's the word you say? Digital.
Cultural heritage.
Cultural heritage. So in other words, using technology, digital technology, to better understand culture.
Yes, better understand is the first very important, as you stated, but later on, to also, when you understand, you can also conduct your research or your practical work, like I expressed as a work at a site, much better. Just a short example is what we consider as a very interesting project is Khmer temples comprises of thousands of stone blocks up to 1 ton heavy. Now the job is how to restore them. The job is which of the block belongs to it.
Because they are piled up.
Yeah, they're piled and they are not the same. We find out that they are not the same, but similar, only similar. The human recognition cannot separate them. Define them where belongs to which level, because there are many levels of the temples, and
it's too heavy.
It's too heavy.
It's not like a puzzle. We can take this, put this. Oh, it doesn't work. You put that. You cannot do that.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
When you move 1 inch, 1 millimeters, you have to use a steel stick and move them. And anytime you destroy it,
you destroy it.
More or less.
Because the stone is a bit fragile, no? After all these thousands of years.
Exactly. And that's why the idea of what I stated here as a project is to digitalize them, to scan them in 3D in micrometer precision, where you can see micrometer, where you can see sand corn, sand pieces on the stone.
Wow.
But it depends on the context. Here in this context is macro level. That means you reduce the quality down to an acceptable size of the data so that the computer, the hardware can handle. And then you let them approximate for you what kind of stone belongs to where on the structure. And this cannot be.
It's amazing.
It cannot be.
So I mean, do you? Well, I mean, sometimes I read on the news that we have satellite mapping, that sort of thing. So that's different work, right?
That belongs to digital cultural heritage as well, which is very considerable result, considerable findings. I've seen in Angkor, right? They scanned the LiDAR images and found out in underground what has been constructed as a city of Angkor.
Wow.
They cannot see by eyes, but
you cannot,
only by technology.
It's amazing.
That's why I think digital.
So I think the school now, Royal University of Phnom Penh now, you have a faculty that focus on that? Do you work or you work with the APSA authority?
Yes, but we still are conducting researches on IT engineering, IT technology for cultural heritage. We still have activities with the institute in Heidelberg, the Interdisciplinary Center for Scientific Computing, to support cultural heritage in Cambodia. So we scan artifacts in the National Museum. For instance, Jaivalman VII statue. You have never seen this virtually. When he stand up, using the information of the existing sculpture, and you can digitalize it. You can add bones. You can add hands that is missing. And you can give color to the suits and hair and eyebrows. So you have a much different impression how he could look like at that time of living time. So this is digital. This we also conduct with students, scanning the.
So you must have big server.
Yes, that's right, sir.
Oh, that's exciting. So far you work on PTHMA, but any other temple you work on, the school work on?
We, as part of the digital cultural heritage, is the 3D modeling. 3D modeling means you get available information, architectural information. When there is not available, you go to the site, you measure it, and you document it in a paper on a computer, and then you create it in a 3D, in a virtual reconstruction of the temple, of the structure. Simulation. And then you can also simulate the keywords, how the people there, the kings, used to operate this area, the temple, how it has been used in a ceremony, for instance. This can only be imagined or shown in a computer. And the modeling is part of it. We have done 3D modeling of Bakain Temple, of Angkor Wat is my PhD temple, and we also show the equinox event, equinox, the time in relation to the moon, when it reached the top of Angkor Wat. So we have proved that. This is part of something that we mixed between astronomy and 3D modeling, digital culture heritage, and it can prove that something that people say might be like that, but computer can show this really like that.
To very the highest precision you can think of, right?
That's right.
But you know, for this sort of work, I mean, it probably take you a long time, you know, to educate a young Cambodian to move in that field.
Exactly.
Are there a lot of Cambodians who would take that curriculum?
As a dean and of the Faculty of Engineering and Department of IT Engineering, we can see that there are so colorful students in terms of backgrounds. Some don't know even the mouse. Some are really good than earlier generations. So a mixture, and we try to get those who is for the first interested in such project, interested in making use of the technology. You can learn what is the background of the computer, but what is the use? You are in the faculty of engineering. What's the use for the cultural to support, for instance? So if the interest is there, we can lead them. We can invite them to learn from cultural discipline, right? You have to learn. You have to know first. What's the problem?
You know, I would say sometimes it's we all have our own. I would say discourse. Yes. You know, each culture have its own discourse. Each subgroup have their own discourse. The way of thinking, right? I mean, discourse. I'm a lawyer, and my wife's also a lawyer. So we always think along the line legal, law, framework. You know, rationality. And a son who graduated from high school, you know, this month. He's a writer. He wrote 4 books when he was. You know, like 11, 12. His last book was 16. Novel, sci-fi novel, sold in Monument Bookstore. I'm promoting him a bit. So in our mind, we always think him as an engineer, that he's going to be a robotic engineer or whatever, right?
Yes.
Then a few months ago, we asked him, I say, what you going to study in college, in university? He say, Mom, I'm going to go to theater school. And my wife almost collapsed. Then my son say, Mom, relax. Theater school is not all about dancing or performing. There are script writer, there are director, there are so many things in that particular field, right? So my wife said, oh, I feel better. I thought a moment you're going to be a dancer. I said, but what's wrong with dancing?
What's wrong?
You know, but the point is that, you know, in the field that you are chairing at the faculty there, it's so broad, right?
It's broad.
So broad, but the point is, how do you eventually, when the student graduate, that they find the way that they can apply that? And it's interesting that you focus on using IT, engineering, technology to help our culture.
That's right.
You know, because ultimately, Cambodia is well known for that.
That's right.
And but in a traditional way.
That's right.
What you are putting on the table now is taking Cambodia 1,000 years ago into the future. So I think we're gonna stop now for a short break.
Yes.
When we come back, I want to dwell a bit more on this the so-called IT engineering and the linkage, you know, with culture, but more precise. What sort of activity that you're actually doing right now to help the Apsara Authority, and perhaps also in the context of the recently established Asian Cultural Council.
Yes,
all right, Pheakdey, okay, let's dwell a bit more on this fascinating field of IT engineering, which you imagine is all this 101010, right? Yes. This big server, you know, you see in the movies, all this time travel, everything. Yes. And then you add the word IT engineering in cultural heritage, which is another world, another dimension. That's right. Culture, civilization, art at its best. That's right. You know, right. And the merging of the two, you know, it bring a new synergy. The synergy, I would say, more than just IT engineering, more than just culture. Yes. So it's like 2 + 2 = 10.
Yes.
All right.
Some kind. IT engineering differs from computer science. Computer science is what you stated. We learn behind the tool, behind the hardware and software, how it is established, which is called IT information architecture, how to combine the chip, how to combine everything, and the software who operate it. This is computer science.
That's computer science.
And the IT engineering, computer engineering, is you use technology that provides nowadays to any field, any possible field to solve solution, to provide us possible solutions.
So it's more solution driven.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than just framework, hardware putting together.
Yes, rather than the understanding behind the computer itself. So in our IT engineering department, we try every year. We have the programs called practicum. Practicum means lecturers guide the students to work on a hot topic which relate to a real problem we have now. To make the students understand the problem and to try to find out the solution together with our lecturers. And at the end of the year, we then have a competition of best projects and provide them awards by medal, by small souvenirs. And it's very successful, I would say. And in this practicum, it is anything is possible, starting from smart farm, use IT to control this.
This hydroponic thing, is that your division, your faculty?
Yes, this is our
all
faculty
right,
also.
Nguonphan proudly sent me the picture, and
Yes.
so all right. So now I start to see a bit how it works, you know.
Yes, and part of it, for instance, we can control the humidity by IT with sensors. Sensors detected the humidity. If it's rain, it gets higher. How to reduce it, close the windows, and so on. Or the temperature when it's at daytime.
Yes.
It's too much sun, too hot. Turn on the air conditioner, for instance. This is something that is controlled automatically, can be controlled automatically by IT engineering.
Yeah, but I think in terms of job prospect for them, it's awesome, because we are now living in a world where climate change is really disturbing the current business model. You know, the traditional, I say, energy model. Now I'm glad to see that Cambodia start to move into I say solar energy. But if we talk about climate change, it has a lot to do about technology.
Oh, yes.
And what you mentioned is the ability to control a drop of water.
Yes.
That's very, very powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
That's right.
What other application you can think?
In terms of electronic and telecommunication electronics engineering, for instance, you can also control in relation to climate change, because you see that we have nowadays waste of energy.
Yes.
Traffic jam, and also in building itself, we turn on the air conditioner. We did not control the temperature related to the environment outside.
Yes.
So it's waste of energy. And for one project that is also interesting is a car driving through the street, and using sensors, you can control dim down, reduce the electricity of the street light posts only when there's activities, and when there's no activities at dark at night.
Yes.
And quiet, you can dim down to reduce this.
So it's sort of like the smart city concept,
smart city concept
that ASEAN has been promoting now, piloting now.
Yes, exactly. So these are only some examples that that we can use, and part of that is also cultural heritage, modeling, simulation.
Yeah, but okay, let me focus a bit at the university. Do you see a strong interest in the newer generation of Cambodian into that field? Because the reason I say that, because 10 or 15 years ago, I do lecture occasionally, mostly on law and economics, trade policy, that sort of thing. I see more students like the soft, I say subject, you know, management, accounting,
That's right.
law, economics, you know. But do you see a shift now that Cambodia now start to appreciate science, appreciate technology, that sort of thing, you know?
Very much. I see it very clear.
Very good.
Yeah, because
Glad
because of the government.
Yes.
Emphasizes on science, technology, engineering, mathematics, greatly.
Yes. STEM.
STEM.
Yes.
And all UPP itself, our faculty, was supported by the government, a building for the.
Well, you have a very strong supporter, the minister himself, Dr.
That's
Rohn
right.
himself.
Yes, minister. Thanks to him also very much. And it's a very good start. We have now the building, and we still need the equipment. But at least it shows a very good move, and the students see that.
Yes.
The students, we have this year, for instance, we have the first graduate. Last year, sorry, we have the first graduate, and starting from this year, so many students are almost double the size of the students come to our Faculty of Engineering, and our UPP is almost reaching the limit of facility. So, but our faculty, we try to get all possible students that want to be engineer, because we know we lack of engineers in Cambodia. That shows us that that engineer and science field is now, even it's very difficult. We still have dropout. We still have a lot of dropouts.
It's okay.
But still we're working to get best lecturers with PhDs to promote them and show
benchmarking.
them
Benchmarking.
That's right, and show them how important it is for themselves, but also for
I think for a dropout it's all right, because I happen to be with Dr. Naron, the first patron for a sort of like a dual program with the University Lee Bruxelles and the Royal University of Law and Economics in the first program on a master degree on public law, international public law, and private law, right? And I, look at the sort of like for the private sector law, right? Private international private law. This master degree program. It's a 2-year program, and it starts with 45 students, and upon graduation 2 years later, only 16 made it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's normal. It's normal. But the point is that I think that it's important that we start moving up, not just on quantity, but on quality.
On quality also, yes.
And when I was asked to at the graduation ceremony to give the diploma to this 16 student, I said, look, the other that fall by the wayside, it doesn't mean that they're not going to graduate. They're just going to have to work harder.
Yes.
But what we want to stress that quality matter. That if our graduate with that degree, he or she can compete in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, go to France, and sit in a panel discussion with other students at ease. We don't want just the quantity, right? And it's a strong message also. It's a message that we do not sort of like I would say we do not condone I would say mediocrity, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to start somewhere, right? Yeah, it's easy to pass everybody, but to me, I feel that we will hurt them in the long run.
That's right. That's true.
We will hurt them in the long run. By being tough, it's better for them now to feel the pressure to study harder, but they don't lose face. They're not going to be humiliated. Then they graduate, but then they're mediocre. And then when they go get a job.
Exactly.
So I think we're on the right track. So I think let's now shift a bit to the cultural side of it. Yes. So on that one, what you had is a special curriculum that student will actually, not right away, right? I mean, they probably second or third year, something before they can shift to add the cultural dimension, right?
That's right. We have 2 programs that are related to IT and cultural heritage. One is the IT Engineering Bachelor program, and MIT Master of IT Engineering program. Actually, Master of IT Engineering program is more activities on this field, because the students are more ready for the program, and still in the bachelor program they are still feel not comfortable with numbers, with computers, and then have to study cultural heritage, so it's still need to motivate more than master program.
But they must have a good background in culture, in social science.
Also to understand, actually it can be conducted, can be lead led by lecturers, supervisors like me. I also
Yes,
supervise some projects.
Yes.
But still they have to work by themselves.
Yes.
It's master program.
Yes.
They may be independent, more or less.
Independent thinking, you know,
yes.
creative mind,
That's
that
right.
sort of thing. No, for me, I'm very encouraged to see the new generation embracing, like you say, technology, science, engineering, math. Math is the fundamental. You got to start with that, you know. And I think you heard many times our Prime Minister Nguonphan, when he give a speech in different events, he stressed that science also, because part of the fourth industrial revolution, we have to prepare.
Exactly.
You know, not right now, but we have to prepare. Right.
Yes.
Our rectangular strategy also covered that. Right.
That's right.
So I think you're contributing quite a bit to that.
I hope so. I hope so. And we also stress on mathematics that still too less good mathematicians that can be taught more on the interdisciplinary field. You know mathematics, you should know where to use a mathematics, and you should know what will help to the society, to any like cultural heritage, for instance, like the puzzling that I expressed at the beginning. There's a lot of mathematics inside. Even you let the computer to calculate for you, which is a million times faster than our thinking, needs 2 weeks to calculate 50 blocks only.
2 weeks.
Imagine, yes, 2 weeks. So many things to calculate inside.
And it's a computer.
Yes, it's a computer of nowadays.
Oh my God.
So this is something that mathematician must be optimized.
Yes.
And also computer engineer and developers must also optimize the software and hardware itself. Actually, it's exponentially growing. We see the exponential growth of the cost of the capacity of the hardware, and software is also going in parallel to the hardware. But still the problem is faster. You know, the idea and the problem to be solved by computer is much faster, still beyond.
Yeah, Pheakdey, I think, you know, if we are projecting to the future, I think everything boils down nowadays to sustainability.
Yes.
Right. Whatever you want to do, funding resource will dwindle. You have to compete with the other faculty for more money. You know, so I think in anything, in any institution, is always the constant struggle to get funding. Right. Constant. I think here I'm thinking more about how do you monetize that. Right. Here I'm putting my creative thinking cap a bit. When we way back in early 2000, when we negotiated the WTO, culture is on top of our agenda, because when we negotiate with the US, for them they want us to open up our economy, including audiovisual, right? And what does it mean? For most people, they don't realize the implication. But for us as negotiators, we say, no, Uncle, what is our cultural heritage? Now it is a cultural heritage. So I want you to think back 20 years ago, right? At that time, it's only cultural heritage. And even as cultural heritage at that time, you're talking about a mere 150,000 tourists. Right? So, I mean, there's no economic value per se, right? Now you fast forward 20 years later, it's more than 5 million tourists. But in between, when we negotiate at that time, we insist that we want to protect that cultural asset. We don't want to turn into just an economic heritage. But if it should be an economic heritage, it should be our economic heritage, not our cultural heritage, and the American, Hollywood would monetize it, right? I mean, look, Angelina Jolie was there. It's great. They help promote. But why can we not, as the host country, as the owner of our own civilization, monetize this cultural heritage in the form of a movie, in the form of entertainment, in the form of virtual reality, in the form of museum, that sort of thing, using IT engineering.
Yes, exactly.
Tourists, you imagine, 5 million tourists. If they spend $5 to use a latest technology to visualize in this Google, what
Yeah,
it called, this
glass,
goggle
yes,
glass there, right?
Yes.
You imagine. So to me, the possibility to monetize this so-called IT engineering in cultural heritage is powerful.
It's powerful, yes.
Well, we're gonna take a short break and we'll come back. I want to discuss a bit more.
Okay.
How do we secure, you know, sort of like a resource to develop that? Pheakdey, I think when we stop at the last break, we're talking about how do we monetize all this science and combine with our cultural heritage, which is a World Heritage, which is a UNESCO site, which is a registered, you know, which is the seven wonder of the world.
Yes.
You know, so you can list all these things, right? That make Cambodia a attractive place for tourists to come. I remember before WTO, we barely have 150,000 tourists. Now we moved to 5 million. But these are the physical side of it, right? But how do we value add what we have? And you know, when I go to museum, you know, as you get older, when you're young, when you travel, where do you go? You go to shopping, right? You go to a mall, you go movie. Now, when I travel on mission, you have a sort of like half a day off or something. Where do I go? I want to go to museum. I want to know that country, right?
That's right.
When you go there, you know, they have all sort of visual, audio. Some are not sophisticated, only audio. Some sophisticated, audio, visual. But you pay.
Yes.
You pay.
That's right. That's right.
In addition to the ticket,
Yes.
you pay for that earphone and that thing, right?
Exactly.
But it changed how you appreciate when you walk into that particular site.
Exactly.
Because instead of looking at stone, you know, have a story.
Yes, exactly.
So I think what you're working on right now is already the foundation.
Yes.
How can we now tap that in the context of, say, for example, the Asian Cultural Council, for example, where Cambodia is the host.
Yes.
The ASEAN Secretary General of ACC is Excellency Sojara. So how do you work on that? You have any ideas?
I think we should consider both ways.
Yes.
One is to protect cultural heritage, not to disclose everything in a full resolution to internet.
Yes.
Because it's
people will take it.
Exactly, and it's a both-faced knife.
Yes.
So to say, and one. On the other hand, like you said, you should attract young people also to learn about cultural heritage.
Yes.
You stated that people go to the museum or to the temple site. What is it? It's a stone.
Yes.
I don't want to go again. It's a stone. But instead of that, we can use technologies while everyone holds a smartphone.
Yes.
You can. Through internet, you can provide information. You can provide interactive platform for students, for young generation, because they want that with them, right? So this also, like you said, you can create apps. You can create new innovative platforms that links to information of their own culture and of the artifacts itself.
Yes.
Not only go to see the stone and ask for.
I think here, you know, we have to think. For me, as a lawyer, I always think of intellectual property protection, right? We have to think of an ecosystem, you know, and this we have to be very careful because, as you mentioned, we cannot put everything on the web where there'll be people who will pirate it and then we lose our identity. But there are real company who would exploit it, which is very much the entrepreneurial free market spirit, right? And that's why the state have to be very strong, the Apsara authority have to be very strong, ACC have to be very strong in terms of ensuring protection of our intellectual property, right? Exactly. Revenue can be made possible because all the data that you do, I mean, it's now metadata, right? It's big data. If you monetize, if you sort of like data mine it. That's the word, right?
Yes, yes.
If you data mine, there's so much possibility.
There's
So much possibility, yeah.
And you must understand it also,
Yes.
to protect, to set the limit, right?
Yes.
What kind of data, what kind of resolution
Yes.
should be accessible
Yes.
by public, and what
Yes.
only the museum itself
Yes.
or Apsara.
Yes.
You also yourself must have the full resolution and any possible information of your own
Yes.
artifacts and own
Yeah.
temple. For instance, in Bandijma where I work, it was 2010, and at that time, only 20% of the structure are standing. The rest are collapsed. But amongst the 20%, there are also few of them are in a critical moment when wind come and
they could collapse.
Yes, it could collapse,
Okay.
and it did collapse.
Ah.
So, and when it collapsed, the information is gone.
It's
So
gone.
for your own, for your own sake, for your
Yeah.
own preservation,
Yeah.
it is very critical to promote cultural heritage
Yes,
and IT people to help with their
Yes.
own expertise how to capture,
Yeah, yeah.
how to preserve the information first.
Yes.
But for the public to expose on
Yes.
internet or wherever, we
Yes.
must set down the
Exactly,
limitation
the
so that
parameter.
so
Yeah.
we can attract them
Yes.
to come to Cambodia.
But
Yes.
not to allow.
Not to
everything.
allow,
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, in this digital world, there are so many things that we cannot control, right?
Exactly. Yes.
But we should make effort how to value add, how to, I would say, build upon what we have. Let's face it, this culture will be a source of growth for hundreds of years to come for our economy.
Yes.
It's a pillar of our economy.
That's
You
what
know,
it is.
now it's just not Nguonphan.
Yes.
You have many other sites.
Exactly.
Probably here, and then other site that we just got into register in UNESCO.
That's right.
But I think these are the physical side. But there's also the cultural side, like Champai, you know, Champai Dongweng.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
things like this are all part of that potential. I would say, you know, beneficiary of IT engineering.
I think so. Because it also plays a role. It's critical to promote them, right? To
Yes.
promote, to let the world know what we have,
Yes.
what is still in the face of disregard.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
many of us also
Oblivion.
Yes, don't-
Endangered species.
yes. It loses interest
Yes.
also. So with these technologies, we can promote, we can attract them
Yes.
to the importance of our culture.
Hmm.
Because globalization,
Yes.
we see everyone that
Yes.
comes with technologies, and we tend to go to the Western.
Yes, you're right.
While the
Yes.
cultural is very
Yes.
important to know the root. So this must be there's a lot of ways to combine.
Yeah, globalization have its good side and its dark side.
A dark
It's
side,
like a
yes,
sword
that's
with
right.
two edges, right?
That's right, that's right.
We welcome globalization, but we should preserve our identity. That's why
Identity.
ASEAN is the motto. ASEAN, we always talk about diversity. You know,
Yes.
how do we accept each other, culture, way of thinking, value, and still can live together.
Still,
And
right.
I think we are blessed that we have Nguonphan as our
Absolutely.
cultural heritage, as our identity, as our soul.
Yes.
So let's maximize it using technology.
I think so, and this is something that we have to have to promote to younger generation. We have so many young people now
Yes.
that I stated that don't want to go to see the temple site or to the museum because they don't know what is good for them.
Yes,
But if we integrate, we combine with other interests
yes.
in relate to technology, why not? Take on that?
I refer to my son once again when he was 11 years old. He was quite small, and we love to go to Siem Reap to see the temple and everything. And so we request a tour guide, and so we're standing there, and the tour guide came, and he's not moving. He just stand there. So I think after 5 minutes, I asked him. I say, "Bon, when can we start the tour?" He said, well, I'm still waiting for your guest. I said, well, no, my son is here. So he was a bit offended.
Right.
He said, and then, so, oh, okay, so that's him, right? So he took Sammy and go around the temple, he explained, and Sammy always listen, listen. And he come back. The two guys say, Bong, this is the first time I see a kid that have interest in understanding his own culture. Most people will come and take a picture and go, I have ice cream.
That's right.
But it's amazing. It's amazing. And that's why our culture is so rich. You go there, you see a picture, a sculpture, right?
Yes,
if you look, right, it's deep in meaning, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I can tell you, when my son write novel, when I read his novel, it's so descriptive.
Wow.
And to me, it has a lot to do with exposure.
Yeah.
You look there, this chariot, the king sitting there, analyzing, right? And later on, they have an influence on your writing, that sort of thing. So I think it's exciting to talk about our own culture, our own religion. Last trip to Bangkok, I happened to see this book in Asia Book. This thick, 1,500 page, is Buddha Thoma, Thorpaput, right, in Sanskrit, right? It's written by a Thai Buddhist monk, translated by him, so he's also a professor. I think 2005 he was given the recognition. His work was recognized as a Champai Dong Wei, right, something like this, by UNESCO, 2005. And it's all about Buddhism. So I bought the book. So we try to read 1 page a day, right? But again, when you start reading, you understand, oh my God, this is what it meant. This is what it meant. Because see, the problem with our Buddhism, when we go to the temple, we don't understand what the monk said.
That's right.
Except when Lok Teh, right? When he Lok will speak into a plain Khmer language. But when he recite, we don't understand.
Yes, right. Just follow him.
Just follow, right? So I think, anyway, we're coming to the end of the show. It's quite interesting two topic, science and culture, that's why I'm a bit overwhelmed, So any message for the audience that you want them to remember from your dialogue here?
One of the professors that I led a team of top mathematician in Europe who flies to Vietnam for high performance computing every 2 years, and they stop. My professor in Heidelberg managed them to stop in Angkor to visit, and I have them going around the temple site, and when they reached Angkor Thom, they saw the pictures on the wall expressing the everyday life of that time, while we already lost all of information. All the information is recent information researched by foreigner with Khmer's. The rest are only on temples. And he said, only 1 square meters of this wall, you can write a PhD or 2. PhD, because so many information on that you can do. So please, my message is please learn the root, learn own culture, preserve the culture, so that you can manage your present time and the future, the development from now based on the culture. I think this is very important.
All right, that's a very strong message, and I will wrap up by saying that culture is everything. Culture is our soul. Culture, for a country that have gone through difficult years during the genocide and everything, culture will be a strong, I would say, foundation to rebuild a nation. And I think Cambodia now is a stage that we are building the foundation of a nation, but nation building required a soul. Technology alone will not suffice. Big 30, 40-story high-rise will not suffice. We need to understand, we need to remember, we need to nurture, we need to preserve, and foremost, we need to live our culture. And that's probably what I want to wrap up by saying, our culture is powerful. And through culture, you know, we can have our own identity that be recognized and respected in the world. So on that note, Pheakdey, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.